Hello, everybody. I'm Fiesel, and I am here interviewing Janglestorm, who will be running Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures coming up next. Hello, Janglestorm. Thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thanks for having me, Fiesel.
All right. So this game has got a speedrun history that dates back a couple of years. And when you came into the scene, the game already had kind of an established route, or did you actually find some new things? So how did that happen when you kind of came onto the speedrun scene?
So I started speedrunning this a little over a year ago at this point, and at the time, the speedrun route was pretty much established already. The world record back then is still the world record today of 27:57. So, a lot of the things that have gone into the route have already been there since.
Are there any new tricks, or have you developed any new setups for things, or are you mostly just working on kind of improving the execution of it?
Nothing new, really. It's mostly been tightening my own personal, my own execution of things, and just bring the time down that way. But there's a couple of small things here and there, and personal setups that I like to go with to make things more reliable. But I guess that's about it, really.
So, I would say right now, the times are the top two times are only 2 seconds apart from each other. I mean, is the game really that tight, or do you think that there is a lot of time that could be saved for somebody who's willing to, take kind of riskier strats?
I would say, currently my best possible time as of a couple of days ago does indicate that you could go as slow as 27:07, but that's of course when everything really goes perfectly and everything is a goal basically. But I think as it is right now, I've been the run that I had recently where I got very close to world record. I could have saved enough time perhaps to probably get the 27:4x. So I think that's in that case a sort of viable goal.
Yeah, so you're only 2 seconds off from the world record right now, and the world record is 2 years old, I believe.
Yes, right? That's correct.
So what's it been like trying to get the world record? What do you think is the most challenging thing about it? And do you think that you're going to be able to do it?
Well, the thing is, I wasn't initially going for world record at the time. I was first just trying the run out and see how I liked it. And initially, I guess my goal was to get a sub 30, which is already quite a challenge if you don't die too often, it becomes much more of a possibility, but still you have to watch out. And by the time you get to 28, execution gets a lot tighter. And I think in my case, I've been sort of running it down enough, and at some point I got to the 29, so I got to sub 30, but later on realized that I was able to do a couple more optimizations and perform a tighter execution, and I found myself getting closer and closer to world record, and I was like, well, let's give it a try, see how far I can get. And here we are. Recently I was this close to actually getting the world record. So I might eventually go for it. So let's hope it happens at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so let's talk about some of the challenges. What do you think makes this a challenging run in a marathon setting, or even just doing attempts? What's the hardest thing to deal with in this?
I think in this case, it's kind of hard to talk about it right now compared to how it was when I first started out, because I've been running it for such a long time, so it may not seem as challenging. But I think in general, some of the sections where you really have to do precise things, there's a level in the Well of Souls in the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you can stand at a certain pixel or certain precision. You can perform this floor clip, which saves 10 to 12 seconds. And so stuff like that can be tough to pull off on the first try. Of course, I'm going to try and go for it, but see if that happens. And there's a couple of other things, you can damage boost in certain areas. Like in the Temple of Doom, there's this huge body of lava, and you have this long path where you try to damage boost across that and hit bats on the way, and try not to constantly rely on platforms. So there's a fun challenge in then trying to preserve your health that way too, I think.
Right. And is there anything in particular that you really want to draw the audience's attention to? What do you think is going to be the most impressive thing for them to watch, assuming it goes the way you planned?
I think the floor clip, definitely, yeah. I mean, there's a couple of... there's technically 2 floor clips that are currently known right now. There's one later on in the game which is basically impossible to execute on the fly, really, so we never really go for that. But the other one that I mentioned is actually sort of doable, and I've been trying a sort of reliable visual setup for myself with which I hope to get it. But that's definitely a thing I'm going to highlight during the run for sure.
Well, any plans to sort of to this other floor clip? Do you think that's something that could be eventually made viable? Is that something that you want to work on setups for, or do you think that it's maybe going to be a little? It's clearly not necessary in order to beat the world record.
It's not necessary to beat the world record. I mean, you don't even have to get that one floor clip first try, because in my current PB, I didn't get it first try either. But I don't know. I kind of want to look into it again eventually, see if there's more reliable setups, because it would be fun to get. Like the time save is not as big as with the first floor clip technically, but I don't know if it can somehow be worked in. That would be pretty awesome, of course. I mean, it's a time save, so yeah.
Sure, and sort of the prestige of like just taking a new trick and actually making it work is kind of
working it into your future PB, basically. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's all the time we have. I want to thank you very much for talking with me today, and I really wish you the best on the run.
Thank you so much, Fiesel.
All right, well, everyone, please stay tuned to watch Janglestorm running Indiana Jones' Greatest Adventures, which is coming up next.